And that is a lot of protein, guys. Plus, the stuff that's not the protein, the fat, the carbs, are pretty darn good for you. Hey guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic. Today I want to give you 5 foods to help build muscle after 50. Now, most of the time on this channel, you're going to hear me talking about how to lose fat, all right? And that's because the vast majority of guys watching right now are more concerned about losing fat than building muscle. But still, everybody wants to add muscle, all right? And the nice thing about losing fat is that building muscle doesn't slow that fat loss down. It actually speeds it up, right? So there are some foods that we need to think about, and of course protein is the basic building block of these 5 foods that I'm going to give you. And guys, the other thing I want you to realize is that building muscle is way harder and slower than losing fat, all right? So it's much easier to lose 10 pounds of fat than to build 10 pounds of muscle, all right? But I got 5 great food ideas for you today to help build muscle. But before I get to that, just real quick, guys, we have a fantastic Facebook group. Click the link below. It'll take you to the group. Even if you're not a big social media person, just join, all right? I'm the moderator. I'm in there every day answering questions. Thousands of guys all over the world, just like you. Everybody's over the age of 50. And it's not just about working out, all right? So there's all kinds of nutrition stuff in there, and people are talking about injuries and rehab and motivation. There's some guys with unbelievable great stories that just help motivate all the other guys around the world. So, you know, kind of when you're in it with other people who have the same issues and problems as you do, it really does make the journey a lot more fun and more successful. All right, so the first food is a tasty, fun one, and that is a smoothie. Guys, you might refer to this as a protein berry smoothie, okay? But basically, you need to have a good quality whey protein powder, okay? You'll have a big tub of it, and, you know, you throw it in a blender, all right? Throw probably 2 scoops of that protein in there, all right? And then I really like to buy the frozen berries, you know, in the little plastic sacks. You don't need to buy fresh fruit. That's the beauty of these smoothies. Keep them in your freezer. They're just as healthy frozen as they are fresh. That's a whole nother video, okay? But you can do blueberries, strawberries, whatever floats your boat, all right? Throw it in there with 2 scoops of the protein. You might even add a little bit of honey in there and maybe a little bit of almond butter, and then throw in a little bit of ice, maybe a banana, all right? Blend that up, guys, and it is fantastic. As a matter of fact, when you do it the way I just described, a lot of times you can get 2 smoothies out of that. So you can kill kind of 2 birds with 1 stone. You can have 1 smoothie in the morning, and maybe you have a half a smoothie later in the afternoon when you get munchies. But great way to get some protein in you and build some muscle. All right, the second food is great. Matter of fact, I used to go to a restaurant, and they had something called a fried egg sandwich. And that's what this is. It's a fried egg sandwich. Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. So eggs are real high in protein. They also have the good healthy fat with the good cholesterol that your body needs to build and create testosterone. So, you know, fry up a couple of eggs. Get a couple of pieces of toast. Throw it on there. Maybe a slice of cheese, maybe some lettuce and tomatoes in there. If you're really motivated, throw some bacon in there too, all right? Taste fantastic, and that is a lot of protein, guys. Plus, the stuff that's not the protein, the fat, the carbs, are pretty darn good for you. I mean, you're not going overboard with just 2 slices of bread, especially if you get the good high protein bread. All right, the third one, guys, is something that most of you guys have probably never heard of, and that is high protein pasta. You see a pattern here? All right, everything's protein related. So you may have to do a little research. You can do it on your computer, or, you know, you just go into the grocery store and ask them, you know, where's the high protein pasta? But you will be surprised at how much protein they can cram in to some of this pasta. And it's made completely different than the traditional pasta, which is nothing but just all carbs, all right? But If you look at the nutritional label on the back of this high protein pasta, you're going to be surprised. High in protein, high in fiber, low in carbs. It's really good. And then just make your favorite pasta dish. But the deal is you're substituting the highly refined carb style pasta, the traditional stuff, with this high protein pasta, and it makes a load of difference when it comes to the macronutrient totals for that meal. All right, so the fourth one, guys, is a dish that every bodybuilder eats every single day, and that's oatmeal, all right? But do this with your oatmeal. Throw some other stuff in there, all right? A lot of times oatmeal is kind of boring and mushy. Some of it, all right, I've tried, is flavored and it tastes fantastic, but throw a scoop of that whey protein in there that we were using, in your smoothies. Throw that out in your oatmeal and stir it up. You can throw some berries in there, maybe a scoop of peanut butter, maybe even a half of a banana, dude, and that is fantastic for you. And like I said, there is not a serious bodybuilder out there, all right? And I'm talking these young guys that just live and die, all right, by their nutrition, that doesn't eat oatmeal every single day. All right, and the fifth and final one today is going to surprise you guys, and that is cottage cheese. Wow. Cottage cheese is packed with protein, and it's got very little fat and very little carbs in it. It's amazing, all right? So try it. It's also a great late night snack because it's kind of slow digesting, which means as you're sleeping, you're kind of slowly feeding your muscles with the protein that's being absorbed from the digestion process, And also cottage cheese, for some reason, just makes me feel full, all right? There's lots of different brands out there, okay? And they're made slightly different with different types of milk, okay? So if you don't like one, try another. Matter of fact, don't go out and buy 6 tubs of cottage cheese of the same brand. Go out and buy the smallest, cheapest size you can get and buy several different brands, all right? And experiment with the ones that you like. Find one that tastes good to you and make sure the macros, the amount of protein in that cottage cheese is, pretty close to as high as the other, brands of cottage cheese. All right, so I started off the video explaining that building muscle is much harder and takes much longer than losing fat, which means you need to know kind of all the tricks, and the tricks aren't just lifting weights and doing, really intense workouts. Part of those tricks are in the kitchen, all right? So 5 food ideas today. You may not need to eat every single one of them, but Gary and I like to create these nutritional videos with lots of different options, okay? Because depending on where you live in the world, different cultures have different tastes, all right? Cottage cheese may not be even available in some countries, around the world with guys watching right now. So I want to give you a bunch of different ideas to choose from, and hopefully out of the 5 I gave you today, at least 2 or 3 are things that you can do and actually like. But also, you got to stick with it and never give up on yourself.